Pastor Geoff coming to you from my office this morning. Had a phone call last night from our Bishop Jim Hazelwood, who does a great job checking in with rostered leaders across our New England Synod. He was calling with a question, a pretty good question. He said, "How are you and Tammy doing? After all, the Bears and the Packers recently played one another." What he was asking is, how are you keeping the peace? It's a good question for us, especially when we consider rivalries that don't seem to be reconcilable. Can we keep the peace in this world? Well, I'll tell you what Tammy and I did a number of years ago. Since we live on the East Coast and since it's so hard to watch either a Bears game or a Packers game on regular TV, they're on so seldom, we came up with a truce. It started with a place of, I love you and I care about you, and let's make this work. So this is the truce. So if either the Bears or the Packers are on TV, we'll watch it and we'll root for them. That's not betraying your allegiance. It is simple solidarity with the Midwest. We like that. If one of the teams makes the playoff or if both of the teams make the playoffs, we'll root for them, our own team, until, of course, they match up against each other if that happens, or when one drops out, we'll still support the other, unless, of course, you get to the Super Bowl, because who can support their rival in the Super Bowl? That just doesn't even make sense. Anyway, it's been fun over the years to do that, living on the East Coast and still keeping our Midwestern roots for our teams anyway, and having a little fun with it, especially with our kids. Made me think after that phone call, though, last night that with so many rivalries in our world today, we don't start with the place of I love you, I care about you, and let's make this work. We come from the place of I know you're wrong and I hate you, and you're somehow less of a person because of it. I mean, just think of it. All of the discourse or lack thereof in our world in such a divided way, whether you're talking about political parties or even the candidates of a particular party running against each other. Think of it the way we divide ourselves by ethnic groups or by economic groups or by religious groups. We can't even have a conversation about those things. We can't even tackle issues without somehow saying, you're wrong, I hate you, and you're less of a person because you don't think the same way I do, whether it's about healthcare or reproduction or gun control or you name it. It doesn't matter. We just start in that place. I know that you're wrong, and I hate you, and you're less of a person because of it. Well, we've started Advent now. Advent's a time to think about Christ's coming into our world. And as we prepare this year, I know of lots of parties and decorations and excitement around those things. But I hope that you could also consider these words from Jesus, where he said, people say that you should love your neighbor and hate your enemy, but I tell you to love your enemy and pray for those who persecute you. In other words, don't start from the place of, I know you're wrong, I hate you, and you're less of a person because of it. Start from the perspective of where God comes from. I love you. He loves this whole world, every person in it, made in God's own image. I care about you. Do we actually care about our neighbors, even if we disagree with them? And can we make this work? We don't have to agree with each other all the time. We don't have to endorse other people's positions. But could we at least have a dialogue? Could we at least maybe try to learn another perspective? Could we understand how our own actions affect other people's perspectives and actions that so often we are so blind to? So that's my challenge for you this Advent, is to stop the voice in you when you get all heated up by someone who disagrees with you or comes from a different place, where we start in that place of, you're wrong, I hate you, and you're somehow less of a person, and somehow try to take on a new perspective, to love your enemy, to pray for those who persecute you. Maybe instead of trying to be peacekeepers, we could be peacemakers. Have a blessed Advent. And go Bears.